Today we will be painting this naughty cat. The texture and all brushes that I use in this video are from my watercolor bundle, but you can follow this with any brushes you are comfortable with. I will list everything I'm using in the description below. I use a paper texture called Canvas Basic. As you can see, I already have my sketch here. You can draw your own one or use mine, which is available for download in the description. First, I'll make a new layer above the sketch. For a color, I'll take black, and as a brush, the watercolor wet brush. And I'll start painting the cat. Now I'll switch the brush to the watercolor heavily diluted. With this brush I can add shades and blur colors at the same time. Now I switch the brush to the watercolor detail blurred and I will smooth it out a bit. I can also use this brush to move the color and fill in missing spaces. Now I'll use the eraser brush, which is set to the ink, and I will clean the edges. As far as I know, cats can have irregular edges, so I will leave some. I'll go to Adjustments and Liquify, and I will just push the edges to match my sketch. I'll even add more those irregular edges. I grab the watercolor heavily diluted and I will work on the edges a bit more, so the cat will look more fluffy. Now I'll do some highlights. I'm going to use the selection tool set to freehand, and I choose the parts that I want them to be brighter. I'll go to hue, saturation and brightness, and I will brighten them a bit. Now I switch the brush to the watercolor detail blurred and I will smooth it out a bit. We can move on and start painting the eyes, so I will make a new layer above the cat. For the color I'll take yellow, and as a brush I'll choose HB pencil. I'll move the layer with the sketch above the eye and I lower the opacity to see where a pupil should be. Now I change the color to black and I paint the pupil. To make sure that the eyes are the same size, I'll copy the layer with eye. Once the eyes are in the right places, I can merge both layers together. Now I'll put alpha lock on that layer. I'll choose a bit darker yellow tone, and as a brush I'll take the watercolor for everything. And I paint a kind of shadow to make the eyes look less flat. Now I change the color to white and add sparkles in the eyes. Now I'll turn off the alpha lock, I'll choose light pink tone and as a brush HB pencil, and I'll draw a nose. Now I'll turn on alpha lock again, I'll choose a darker pink tone and I'll switch the brush to the watercolor for everything. And I'll paint shadow on the nose. Now I choose black, I turn off alpha lock and I'll paint the whiskers. Now I choose white and I'll add some lights on the whiskers. And I will also add black claws. We can move on and start painting a fish tank. So I'll make a new layer above the cat. As a brush I take the watercolor for everything and I choose a really light blue tone. And I'll paint a glass bowl. Now I choose a bit darker tone. I'll continue with watercolor for everything, but in smaller size, and I'll add darker edges to the bowl. Now I'll change the color to white and I'll add some lights on the bowl. We can start painting a fish. I'll make it on a new layer. I'll choose yellow and HB pencil. Now I'll put alpha lock on that layer. I'll choose darker yellow tone, and as a brush the watercolor detail heavily diluted, and I'll add some darker places on the fish. Now I change the color to white and I'll add some lighter places on the fish. Now I'll take even darker tone, I'll switch the brush to the watercolor for everything and I'll add some darker details. Now I'll take white and as a brush the HB pencil and I draw an eye. I can also add teeth. Now I will draw a pupil with black. I'm checking if the fish is looking at the cat. Yes, it is, so the pupil is in the right place. Now I add a little darker shade on the teeth and a white sparkle on the eye. But I need to open the layer and turn off the alpha lock. Now I'll select the layer with the cat. I'll use the selection tool set to freehand and select the paw behind the glass. Now I go to hue, saturation, brightness and I'll brighten it a bit. I have noticed that this paw looks strange, but I can fix it easily. I choose the watercolor blurred brush and I move the shades a bit. Now it is in the right place and it looks much better. Now we only have a shelf to paint. This will be very simple. I'll make it on a new layer below the cat. I use the selection tool and I'm going to select rectangle shape. Now I choose a yellowish brown tone. I'll take the watercolor wet brush and I'll color the shelf. I'll just erase the part behind the tail and there we go, the cat is done. I hope you enjoyed painting this naughty cat. If you think I've earned it, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for your support, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.